Hi, my name is Courtney Hilke, and I'm going to be demonstrating how to properly use manual restraints. There's a couple different varieties of what we can use, and they kind of range in like a step up of severity and what you would use them for. You would use a manual restraint for a horse that you're trying to operate on and you know they're not going to be compliant with it, or if you are worried about the handler or the person that's operating on the horse's safety, to keep the handlers and the horse safe. So a couple different things that we would use would be just a flat halter like he has on right now, and we could use a rope halter or cross ties, and a little step up would be a chain over the nose or a gum chain, which is also called a stud chain, and you could use a lip twine, a actual wooden handled twitch, a chain twitch, a humane twitch, and chemical restraints. Okay, the first thing that you would want to start with would be the flat halter, and if the flat halter is just not enough yet, you could use some verbal commands. You could either coo them and soothe them and make them feel more comfortable, or you can use more demanding approach and just try to get their attention, kind of a thing. You wouldn't want to stand there and just keep yelling or keep cooing at them because it could make them more anxious. If it's not working, you would want to step up to the next level of restraint. So a rope halter would be the next thing that you would try. This is really popular in the Western industry, but some industries don't like rope halters, so you would just want to make sure that you're not going to get laughed at if you use one or get made fun of. The rope halter has the little knots on it that apply more acute pressure than just the flat halter, and it can get their attention a little bit more. So after the rope halter, you would use a chain over the nose, and it's going to be looped over the nose band, so the chain will not be directly on their nose, but it'll be enough to have more pressure than just the rope halter. And you would use it for a horse that's not being attentive or paying attention to you and get a little more attention. Alright, so now we're going to demonstrate how to do the chain over the nose. You always want to make sure that your slack is looped over your arm and not wrapped around your arm, just in case the horse goes ahead and pulls back. You won't be stuck with the horse. So you're going to want to pull the chain through as quietly as possible. You don't want to make a bunch of noise and make them nervous or anything, and you don't want to pull it through really quickly. And this chain is a little long on him, so I'm going to go up through this ring, and I'm going to clip it back to itself. I'm going to make sure that the snap isn't pointing towards his face, so the little grooves don't stick him. And you want about 2 to 5 links at the end, so that's why I hooked it back to itself so it wasn't a bunch of slack on this end. Okay, so that's how you do a chain over the nose. The next step up from a nose chain would be a gum chain or a lip chain, and it's also known in the Western industry as a stud chain. They use it a lot of times for halter studs or leading studs around, just to have a little more control over them. The gum chain, it'll be hooked to the top ring up here. You wouldn't want to hook it to the bottom ring because the clasp might get into their mouth. You'd always want to make sure that the links are flat across the gums and there's not one that's twisted, because that could cause a lot of damage and pain. And you'd want to, whenever you attach it, you don't want to pull up to tighten it and keep it snug. You would want to pull down lightly so it doesn't rip their gums. And you'd always want to have constant pressure so they can't spit it out or get it in their teeth. Okay, I used to. Alright, next we're going to do a lip chain. Snap it to his halter with the hooks pointing out. And you never want to hook it to this bottom ring because the clasp can get in their mouth and that can be very uncomfortable. gently lift up on his top gums and gently pull down at the same time so it stays snug. I want to make sure that all the links are nice and flat and there's not one that's sticking out and causing a pressure point. And you always want to pull down and have downward pressure, but don't yank. You don't want to pull upwards because it's going to rip their gums. Alright, and next is going to be the lip twine. This is just some string. You could use baler twine or anything that you have readily available. You're going to attach it to this bottom ring right here. And this already has a loop for the attachment, so it makes it a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. If you had baler twine, you would just tie a square knot so you can get it undone once you're finished. But make sure that's snug enough that it won't come undone while you're trying to get this accomplished. I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the lip chain. I'm going to pick up his gums and slightly pull down. And downward pressure and not upward pressure. The next thing we would use is a twitch. This is a rope twitch, and here at William Woods we make our own. It's got a longer handle, it's got an axe handle, so you can get farther away from the horse and be safer. Some of the twitches have shorter handles, so you're up closer to the horse and you've got to be right on top of them. We like the rope one instead of the chain because the chain only twists one way, and if you go in to apply the twitch and the horse isn't cooperative and you miss your chance of the correct way to turn, you might not get the twitch back on them. So we prefer this, and the chain is a little bit more severe than the rope. This has got a thicker, flat surface than the chain does. Another twitch that you could use is the humane twitch. A lot of people like this because you can twitch them and you can attach it to the halter, and you can do it just by yourself. You won't have to have someone holding the twitch and someone operating on the horse. A lot of people get in trouble with the humane twitch because they lose track of time and they clip it to the horse. Well, once they hit the blow stage, they can't get the twitch back off the horse, and then it becomes very dangerous for you and the horse. Okay. Alright, the 3 time frames of a twitch is, the first would be the distraction phase, and it would be from the time you apply it till about 3 to 5 minutes. The next stage would be the analgesic stage, which would be the 5 to 10 minutes. And then the blow stage would be from 10 to 15. And that's whenever it actually starts to hurt and you completely cut off blood supply to the nose. And you don't want to leave it on any longer than that because the horse is going to start feeling it and they're going to not be happy. And now I'm going to demonstrate how to apply the twitch. I like to keep it snug underneath my arm while I'm holding it and while I'm applying it, just so it can't get away from me. I keep my pinky out and all my other fingers in. And then after you're finished, you always want to make sure that you can touch their nose again. And if you have it on for the full time, you want to rub it just to get the blood flow and the circulation back into the nose. A restraint that is sometimes used, but we do not use it here at William Woods, would be the ear twitch. It involves grabbing the ear and twisting it. The horse becomes frozen because they're in fear of moving, and it will damage the cartilage of the ear. We don't like using it here at William Woods because it will make horses very head shy, and it becomes a problem clipping their ears or trying to put a bridle on because they don't want you anywhere close to their ears. Alright, and now I'm going to demonstrate how to do a shoulder roll. This is good for just distracting them really quick. You don't have to have anything to be able to do it. It's just your hand and the horse. So you're going to grab a piece of their neck, and you're just going to twist. And they should move away from you and move away from the pressure if you're doing it correctly. So he moves a little bit away from you. This is really good for injections or just getting them to stand still. Next is going to be a leg lift. You can use this if you're trying to dress a wound that is on the leg or bandage a leg and the horse is not standing still for it. If they're working on a hind leg, you always want to pick up the same side front leg. And if they're working on a front leg, you'll pick up the opposite side that they're working on. The leg lift is only used on the front legs because it's the safest. So you're going to just pick it up and bend your knees, and you're going to cup the foot on the hoof, and you're going to point the toe upwards so they don't have the downward pressure to slam their foot back to the ground. So the last step you would want to take if nothing else is working would be a chemical restraint. There's 3 drugs of choice that we like to use for the chemical restraint: the acepromazine, rompin, and detomidine. Acepromazine you would want to give 1 to 4 cc's IV or IM. The rompin would be the same, 1 to 4 cc's IV or IM. Detomidine would be a lot less, it would be a 1/4 to a 1/2 cc IV or IM. And for all of them, you would want to wait 8 to 10 minutes if it's IV, and 15 to 20 if it's IM for the drugs to take full effect to make sure that it is safe to go in. You always want to be aware of your horse's body language whenever you do give them a tranquilizer. To know that they are under the full effect, their head will drop, their eyes will get droopy, and they might like cock a leg out and get relaxed. While operating on the horse, you always want to be aware of the horse. They can pop out of the tranquilizer at any time, so you would want to always be checking their body language and make sure that they are still completely under.